guys, welcome back to my channel. You guys should be telling me welcome back to my channel, huh? I've been MIA, but welcome back to my channel. It is Johnny's aka Fleeting Beauty, back yet again with another video for you guys. I have been away, but I have good reason. I have some big news to share with you guys today, so that's kind of what this video is going to be based on. It's just me sharing the 411. So if you're interested in seeing what has been going on with my life, why I've been MIA, and this big news I have to share, then just keep on watching. But so you guys, I have like big news to share with you guys. I was hoping Nathan would be here with me, but his work schedule has been all over the place, and if I would have waited any longer for him, this video would never go up. If you follow me on my Instagram, then you already know what is going on, or if you're just a really close family friend or whatevs, then you know. But I am pregnant. Yeah, I'm pregnant. It's still weird saying that. This is my second pregnancy. I don't know if any of you guys follow me on social media. I did like a really quick like Insta story and Snapchat kind of explaining what happened in my first pregnancy and kind of what I was feeling, but I guess I'll go more in depth with that in this video. This is my second pregnancy. If you guys may or may not know, me and Nathan have been married a little over a year now. Back in it's been a year, crazy. Last January, I found out I was pregnant. And it was crazy because I guess I need to back up. I need to back up. So, me getting pregnant the first time was kind of crazy because I was told that I couldn't have kids. I went to the doctor because I felt a lump like kind of down in my uterus area. And I was like, what is that? And you guys, if you already know my anxiety story, you already know the anxiety breakouts was on 10. I went to the doctor and they ended up diagnosing me with uterine fibroids. At that time, they said I had multiple, but I had one big one. This one was 8 centimeters. Yes, I know. And I kind of have a little body, so 8 centimeters is taking up a whole lot of this area. You feel me? Yeah, so they diagnosed me with the uterine fibroids, and then from there I had different appointments with them, kind of telling me what that means for fertility. And that's when they kind of told me like probably can't get pregnant and yada yada yada. I didn't take the news terribly wrong. I guess because weird enough, when I was younger, I just had this thing in the back of my head where I always felt like, what if I can't have kids? It's so weird, but I've always had really like irregular periods where they're really heavy. I always had really bad cramping, throwing up, staying home from school, and they will always last at least 7 days. So I got put on birth control maybe like my freshman year in high school. I only stayed on them for a little bit. I hate taking pills every day. I really, really do. So I only stayed on them for a little bit. When I got off of them, my period was it was better. I wasn't throwing up anymore on my period. The cramping was still kind of bad, but not as bad as before, so I was surviving. I was good. And they've gotten better since then, kind of. Like, my cramping's not terrible, but I still am, it's still not right. Okay, it's still not right. So anyway, fast forward, so then I get told this news, and I was kind of like, oh my God, why did I know that already? Why did I already feel like that was my life? But before me and Nathan got married, I actually had a discussion with him about that because it was something that was heavy on my heart, like just this feeling. So I had a discussion with him. I remember we were at Olive Garden, and I told him, I was like, how would you feel if, we got married? Because we were dating at this time. I was like, how would you feel if we got married and, I can't have kids? And he just was like, that would suck, but we will find other options. Like, there's other things to, other ways for us to have kids. And so I was like, okay, good. So that gave me a sense of peace in that area, going forward with him. So, sorry if I'm out of breath. Sheesh. So, going forward, I get told this news. I came home from the appointment. I told Nathan, and we were kind of like, it's up to God. These doctors says one thing, but, we just have to trust Whatever's meant to be will be. So we took it as, if we can't have kids, then that's just not God's plan for us. And if I can, then the doctors were wrong, kind of thing. So after that, we just stopped being so careful in that department. It just seemed kind of crazy to be so cautious when I wasn't even sure if I can get pregnant anyway. You know what I mean? So literally, maybe a month later, I ended up pregnant. So I was like, okay, I can get pregnant. So I was excited, but I was kind of like nervous because obviously it was my first time being pregnant, and I was like, we weren't planning for it, and we didn't know what we were doing, and so we were good. So we went, and we just went through the steps. We had our appointment, and then at about almost 7 weeks, I had started bleeding. I went to the doctor, and they told me everything looked fine. They gave me my tests and whatnot, but the only thing was that when they brought my blood test back for the hormones, they found that my hormones were rising, but not rising at the rate they were supposed to. And so I was kind of like, okay, that's terrible, and like I said, I was almost 7 weeks at this time. So they were just like, kind of see how it goes and just keep going on with, with the pregnancy. So I had weekly meetings. I had weekly appointments at this time because they had to keep checking my hormones. And she gave me an ultrasound. That was the thing. My first pregnancy was like actually traumatizing, to be quite honest with you. They gave me an ultrasound when I went to the emergency room because of the bleeding. And she's like, oh, there's the sac, there's your baby. I was only, almost 7 weeks, so it was just a little dot. It wasn't any like actual form of a baby, but it was just reassurance that there was a baby there. A week later, I had an actual appointment, went in to get another ultrasound, and the lady's like, we can't see the baby. There's no baby. We see the sac. I think this is the sac, but there's no baby in it. I'm like, how does the other doctor see a baby and now you're telling me you don't see one? And my hormones were still rising, still not rising the way they were supposed to, but they were still rising, showing that there was still a pregnancy. So it was just very confusing. And so they were saying my fibroid was really big, so they were saying it was in the way. They can't see a lot, and it was just, they had like 3 doctors in there, like all trying to look, and it was just like, oh, like, why is this happening? Like, what is going on? And so I left that appointment still like confused, like, I don't know, there's no baby. Like, they don't see a baby. I still feel, I was still feeling a little sick, not sick, tired. I was really exhausted, and I was still praying. I was just praying, having faith that God would, would make all this stuff clear and that everything would be okay. So weeks go on, so 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. And I had appointments between these weeks, but the main one was my 10th appointment. I went in, same thing, got my results back and had informed me that my hormones had dropped significantly, actually. And so that was when they told me like that I was miscarrying. And I remember I was so upset. Nathan was with me, and we just left like defeated, kind of like, and I was in a place where I was like, I was praying, I was trusting God, like, why didn't he come through? Like, why did he even allow me to get pregnant if he wasn't gonna let me keep this pregnancy? Like, I was so upset, and I was blaming God. I was mad at God. And I remember me and Nathan, he ended up taking the day off of work just to spend time with me, and we came home and we prayed. And I remember we were praying together, and it kind of reassured me, made me feel a little better. But I remember him saying, like, trusting God isn't about trusting that what you want will come through, but trusting that no matter which way it goes, that God is in control and you're going to be okay. And I remember that stuck with me so much, because I never, as weird as that is, I never viewed trusting God in that way. I viewed it as, if I want something to happen, I trust God that it will, and he will make a way, but not trust. That isn't trusting God. That's like just wanting your way to come through. But that is still something that I literally hang on to and remind myself all the time. So that was huge for me. So that was that pregnancy. I ended up, the process of a miscarriage, aside from the emotional, like, pain, the physical pain just makes it 10 times worse. And I don't know if it had to do with me being further along, because I started miscarrying a little after 10 weeks. But it was such a long process. Some people said they bled for a day, and and then it was over. And I was like, mine prolonged for like 3 days. I kept getting these crazy stomach pains. They didn't feel like cramps. I got those too, but they were these crazy pains. I can't even explain it because I never felt it before. And it was just crazy. It was just a terrible time. And then so that was that pregnancy. I ended up getting through that. I took some time kind of to myself, and I finally shared a little bit, like I said, on Snapchat and Instagram. But for the most part, me and Nate kind of dealt with that together. And then our church family was there and praying for us and checking on me, and so they were amazing. So that was all good, and I got through that. Now, to give you a background story, more on, it's kind of a whole picture of why this, now where I'm at, is such a huge blessing. I have a sister. You guys have met her on some of my previous videos. My sister is a couple years younger than me. She is also married. She's been married longer than me. She got married before me, to my brother, who I love. They're high school sweethearts. They've been together since sophomore year. Just craziness. My sister was just ready. Her and her husband were ready for a baby. They'd been trying for months, and nothing was coming. Nothing was happening. Thanksgiving of 2016. Wow. Oh, this is seeming so long now. Thanksgiving of 2016, my sister and my brother-in-law announced to our family that they were pregnant, and it was so wonderful. We were so happy. They had been trying for a while, and we were just so excited. I was excited. I hadn't been pregnant yet. I hadn't even been thinking of being pregnant. I was not ready to be pregnant. I was so happy for her. Me and my youngest sister, we were just so excited to be, to be aunties, to be aunts, however you guys say it. Aunties to, this little girl or little boy. She had started having some really bad pain, and I didn't really talk to her. She kind of told me about it after the fact, and we kind of brushed it off like, oh, she's probably having like a lot of gas pain, or whatever the case may be. And I just remember I was out near where she lives. We don't live that far away from each other, but I'm in San Bernardino, and she's technically it's San Bernardino, but it's not. I was just doing some grocery shopping, running around, and she calls me crying, like, Janice, can you take me to the emergency room? And I was like, hello, anxiety girl here, freaking out. So I rushed to her house, took her to the emergency room. I had groceries in my car, and I'm thinking like, there's probably nothing huge, nothing major is wrong. Like, I was just very naive when it came to the whole concept of pregnancy and the things that could go wrong. So I was like, oh, she's fine. Like, she just needs to find out what this pain's about, yada, yada, yada. I called my brother-in-law because he was at work in LA. So he came and met up with her. Once he got there, I left them and just kind of told him to keep me updated because I had groceries in my trunk that I needed to get home. And again, I wasn't thinking anything serious. Yeah, I'm at home, and then my mom calls me because my mom and dad end up going to the emergency room along with my little sister. And then my brother-in-law and my mom called me and let me know that she had to go into emergency surgery because she was having an ectopic pregnancy. This ectopic pregnancy had gone undetected basically for too long. It ruptured her tube. She had internal bleeding. It was just chaotic and crazy. And they're telling me this, and I'm at home literally losing my mind. I don't think I've ever been that scared in my entire life. We did go through the surgery. Everything went fine. After the surgery, me and my husband went and met them all at the hospital, and she, I think she was able to go home that night, and she had some healing to go through and whatnot, but so she lost the pregnancy, obviously. and she was just so sad. She, just everything she went through from losing the baby and being so excited that she had, been trying and finally got pregnant. Now she only has one tube because obviously one ruptured. They had to remove the whole thing. It was just a very, very hard time for her. It was very, very hard. So we were kind of all grieving with her, and I had, previously before then, kind of like I shared, had been told that I can't get pregnant. So I was kind of in la la land or whatever, more focused on her. And so wasn't long at all. Right? She was still grieving over this loss of a pregnancy. She had started trying again, and they were coming up short. And then that's when I found out I was pregnant. So the first pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant, and it was really hard for her because, that was something that she wanted. And I'm trying to console her and also be happy for me, and vice versa. She's trying to be happy for me and deal with the emotional side she's dealing with. I was pregnant for about 10 weeks, like I said. When I miscarried, I was in the process of my miscarriage, because I said it had been about 3 days that this miscarriage was going on. Like, I had clotting, and it was just not ending for 3 days. One of those days, I was at her house visiting her, and we were just all hanging out and whatnot. And then my sister informed me that she was pregnant. Literally, I'm miscarrying in the moment, and she's pregnant. This is how crazy it was going back and forth. First, she was pregnant, lost the pregnancy. I get pregnant. I lost the pregnancy. She gets pregnant. So she's pregnant, and she's so excited, and I'm excited for her. There was no ounce of me that was sad, and that's genuine. And I don't know why. Maybe because I wasn't exactly like gung-ho on being pregnant at that time, or, I was still dealing with the hurt of the miscarriage, but I know what she'd been through. So I was just so happy for her, so happy. She was still nervous, she wanted to make sure that the pregnancy went to full term and that everything was fine. She, her previous pregnancy, she had experienced an ectopic, so there was a lot of nervousness, like any weird feelings she felt. It kind of hyped up her anxiety or her just being anxious about it. Shortly after that, she miscarried, and it was terrible. It was terrible for her, for all of us. My parents, my parents have now lost what could have been 3 grandchildren. They weren't dealing well. They've been waiting, for grandkids. They were sad. My youngest sister, has been excited to be an aunt, and we were just like, why is this happening to our family? It was so frustrating. Like, why is this happening? Why are we back and forth, and why? And it didn't make any sense to me, and I didn't understand what God was doing. I didn't understand it. I was like, we're doing this the right way. We're both married. We waited. We didn't have kids before marriage. We're in stable communities. We're women of God. We want to raise our children up as, people of God. We just didn't understand why all these other pregnancies, and it seemed like everybody was getting pregnant at the time. That was also what was crazy. It was just kind of why are all these people that are kind of just having kids willy-nilly, everything's going fine, and here we are just suffering these losses. I was trying to, I'm the oldest of 2, and I was trying to just be there for her, but it was so hard because there's no words. You kind of run out of things to say, and even the encouragement isn't enough because she's thinking the same thing I'm thinking, I don't understand why this is happening. She ended up getting pregnant again and suffering another miscarriage. We were all just, I don't even know what to say. We were just exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. It was becoming too much, and I just kind of gave up on the whole pregnancy thing in general. I was over it, and I felt so bad for my sister because I know it's what she wanted, something she wanted so badly. She was having suffering just emotionally, just really having a really, 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 really hard time. It was just a really hard time. And so that's the background story on our family and the craziness that occurred. So now I'm going to lift up this story because now that I've depressed everybody. Then, I can't even remember when she told us exactly. she informed me and my sister first that she was pregnant. And she hadn't been trying. She was like really in this good place of trusting God and just knowing that everything is happening for a reason. And we have so many people, like, you know, our close friends, our Christian family, people that knew what had gone on with us, were just like, I know God's going to do something amazing in your family. Like, I just know it. And so I was like, he has to. There has to be a reason for all of this. You know, he has to have something planned. And so my sister just randomly like, well, I'm pregnant. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. And they hadn't been trying. And she was like, I just feel like this is it. And I was like, I feel like it is too. So she wanted to make it past 6 weeks, because up to this point she hadn't. So as time was going on, she made it past 6 weeks. She had her ultrasound, heard the heartbeat. And that's when her and her husband went and heard the heartbeat, that's when she announced it to my parents. They were so happy. Didn't know what to do with themselves. My mom was acting crazy. My dad was still skeptical because, you know, he didn't want to deal with the losses anymore. But after hearing the heartbeat and things kept progressing, they were so excited. I was excited. My younger sister was excited. We're just like, yes, finally, you know, a pregnancy is going right. And then 7 weeks later, I find out I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I told my sister first that I felt like I could be. And she was like, really? She was like, I feel like this is it. And I was still like, I don't know. I still have this fibroid situation. Like, I was just not on the up and up with it. I was kind of like, I hope it does. If it doesn't, like, I'm just trusting God the real way this time. Like, so I was taking it a day at a time. And I was waiting for my first ultrasound appointment, because if they saw the baby, heard the heartbeat, I knew, like, I would have this sense of peace. Like, okay, maybe this is really it. So time went by. I was at 11 weeks and almost 12 weeks. Had my ultrasound appointment, saw the baby, saw my baby moving, the actual form of a baby too, not a little dot. Heard the heartbeat, and it was just like this amazing moment. Like, I can't believe there's a child inside my body right now. And my husband was so happy. He was there with me, obviously, and it was, right after that, I went and I sent the pictures and everything, shared the news with my sisters and my parents. And everybody was just like, this is what God was doing. So that's why I just announced it about last Friday, I believe. Last Friday on Instagram. And so I'm sharing it, obviously, with my YouTube family. Couldn't forget about you guys. I know I'm a little late. But I am now, I'll be 15 weeks on Sunday. I'll be 15 weeks on Sunday. My sister is 7 weeks ahead of me, so we're gonna have children 7 weeks apart. And I don't know if you guys just know, me and my sisters are like this. So the fact that we can have kids so close and raise them so close is like such a blessing. And this is more than what we could have asked for or expected. Like, so it's just amazing to see, like, even through all the heartache and the trials and the things where you're just like questioning God and you don't understand what's going on, like, he always has a purpose. And it brought out a testimony, you know, and especially with our family's testimony. It's not even just my personal story, but it's one that I share with my sister that also brings us closer. And so we talk and call each other every day, pretty much, talking about different stuff, how we're feeling. And it's just, we've experienced everything together. So this is just another big moment to, like, share with her. And it's been an amazing journey. It's been nerve-wracking. I'm still nervous because I still have some things going on. As I got pregnant, I did, when I did have that ultrasound, they did show that I have 2 more fibroids that are large now. And if any of you guys know, like, the pregnancy hormone actually makes them grow. So now I have 3 large fibroids, and it's something they have to watch. And it's scary, but again, I'm trusting God. I'm trying to do everything I can on my end to keep myself healthy. And that's another thing I wanted to share with you guys. I'm on this journey of basically shrinking my fibroids naturally. So it's funny because I feel like God was bringing this to me and my husband. We constantly was thinking about going on this paleo lifestyle, and I knew I needed to because I've had some digestive issues for a few years now that I've kind of ignored and still been eating crap that I shouldn't. And I feel like it kept, being put in my heart, like I need to change the way I'm eating. And so he bought me a paleo cookbook for Christmas. And when I went through and saw these recipes, I got so motivated. And so this January we decided to go paleo. So we are 2 weeks in now. It's been amazing trying out new foods that are actually very delicious, finding healthy ways to snack and whatnot. And then as we've been in this journey, that's when I started seeing that there are people that did heal themselves of fibroids naturally through basically almost the same diet that the paleo diet kind of runs on. So you guys are going to be with me on my journey to try to shrink my fibroids before, I give birth, or sooner, hopefully. So I want to share some stuff with you. I'm going to try to share some recipes that I do with you guys, and just like my day-to-day, kind of update you on the pregnancy and just what's going on. I hope you guys are interested in that. I just hope that our testimony can give you guys like hope and encouragement. And if you aren't someone who believes in God or even thinks God is real, I hope that this gives you like an insight to something that is unfamiliar for you, because I know a lot of people that don't believe in God is because of all the craziness that goes on. But I think sometimes we don't stick around and trust God long enough to see what he was going to do in the end. So I just encourage you guys to seek God, seek him, get in the Bible, prayer, find out what it means to have faith, to trust. We were sent a savior, and I think that is an amazing gift. And I guess if you don't understand that gift or accept that gift or understand how like big of a gift it is, you can look at everything else as like this terrible thing. But sometimes my perspective is God already saved me. He sent his son to die for me as a gift. So anything else in this life is a bonus. So I try to live without expecting I should receive everything just because I'm a Christian, but look at it as I've already had the ultimate gift, so everything else is a bonus, and I'm just grateful for it. It's difficult. We're human. We live in our flesh, but it's something that I try to focus on each day. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If you guys have any questions on anything, just leave it down below. If you have questions on the diet I'm not doing, what I can or cannot eat, questions about the pregnancy, about fibroids, anything. Just if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. If you want to get kind of more of a faster news, follow my Snapchat and Instagram. I do like record or at least take pictures of what I eat daily on Snapchat. So if you guys want to see some of that, then go ahead. I'll link my Instagram and Snapchat so you guys can know the name and go follow me on those. And yeah, I wanted to show you guys my belly because I do have one. It's so weird. I'm used to being small, so like I still find myself trying to suck my stomach in, and I can't because it's actually kind of painful. But there it is, my little baby belly here in action. So, and this, I'm actually sucking my stomach in right now. If I don't, I look like this. So there he or she is. Hopefully it's a boy. Hoping for a boy, team boy. So you guys pray that God blesses our family with a boy. We have girls everywhere. My dad is dying for a grandson because he has all girls. And so keep us in prayer. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Stay tuned for what's coming up next. Hopefully some more exciting stuff. Sorry, this is why I've been MIA. I've been exhausted, literally exhausted and sick. So I'm finally trying to get my energy back up because I'm in my second trimester. So I'm trying to do these videos. So I'm gonna do them as often as I can. I promise I will. And I'm back in school. So and I'm taking 5 classes this quarter. So that alone is more than I can bear. But I'm trusting God to get me through all this newness. And thank you guys so much for being part of my family and for sticking with me as I was MIA. I am going to get back to some makeup videos. I've just been barefaced. As you see, I am today. I have not been wearing makeup like that at all. I've just been too lazy to even attempt to put it on. Better be happy I get dressed or take a freaking shower, to be honest. But thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in my next video. But until then, always remember that blessed are the pure in heart. Peace, smile, crease, cornrows, and afros.
Only rap one king. Yeah, yeah. I only rap one king. Yeah, 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 yeah.